Hello and welcome back to another video. This video is special because it's got a brand new shoot 'em up in it. Holy smokes, hold on to your hats. Raiden V for the Xbox One has just been released. And here it is. So, Raiden V is the 5th game in the series, although there's 2 offshoots in the Raiden Fighters Jet series. It's by developer Moss. And as you can see, it's been released for the Xbox One. This has caused quite a bit of controversy, because many people, mainly fanboys, are wondering why it never got a PS4 release. There's a few theories kicking around about this. The actual Moss, the developer, has stated it's because it uses a unique feature in the game, which we'll talk about in a little while, called the the Cheer feature, that uses the Xbox Cloud drive. And they say they're not able to do it on the PlayStation 4 because of this, because let's be honest, Microsoft does have a better online playing field. That could be a controversial statement, but at the end of the day, it is fact. However, the Xbox One in Japan is sold incredibly disappointingly. It is shockingly bad how little they've managed to shift. Mainly because Microsoft just doesn't do that great in Japan. The same could be said for the Xbox 360. That didn't sell well at all, but thankfully that became sort of like a haven for shoot 'em ups, getting almost 30 released for it during its life. So I personally think the reason that they're sticking with the Xbox One is to carry on the tradition from the 360 of it being sort of like a hardcore console for mainly shoot 'em up fans. The PS4, sort of every man and his dog's got a PS4, so whereas if you're a shoot 'em up fan, it's quite a niche genre, so I can imagine that you don't mind having a separate console aimed solely at playing shoot-em-ups. That's my theory behind it. But the game itself, I got this from Video Game Imports. I highly recommend them. You will pay a little bit more than you would from PlayAsia, but you will not get charged any customs. And every time I bought from PlayAsia, I've been charged customs. So the game itself is quite a nice cover. Here's the back. Not too many screenshots. But like all new releases now, the box itself is just fucking terrible. It's thin plastic. Comes with the game, and it also comes with an official soundtrack. It's got 22 tunes on it, and the soundtrack actually for the game is pretty good. It's got a good mixture of hard rocking tunes and sort of orchestra style set pieces, let's say. So yeah, it is a good soundtrack. So we'll cut to a wee bit gameplay footage and we'll take it from there. So here we are, Raiden V on the Xbox One. I do apologise if I sound a little nasally. I'm getting over a cold and it'll poor me. So here we are at the main menu. See the different options we've got here. We've got a story mode, boss mission mode, online leaderboards and a gallery. You've got a number of difficulties to pick from, and you can also pick from 3 different ships. Here you see the number of stages that are in the game. There's 8 stages in total, but all of the 8 stages have a branching path set up. So the better you do on a stage, you get to see different parts of that level. I do not know the criteria for getting to the different stages yet. I've only played it for a few hours. I assume though it's once you meet certain scores or kill enough enemies and such. Here you can see you can actually pick out a loadout of weapons before the game starts. And this is a nice little feature because nobody wants to play with that big purple dildo weapon. That is horrendous. It's really the worst weapon ever made. So it's a nice little feature for the game. Loading times on the game are quite long. They're not massive, but it is an Xbox game. Like the PS4 and Xbox now, loading times seem to be a hell of a lot longer. I assume that's due to the Blu-ray discs, but I could be wrong. So, is the game any good? Well, it's better than I thought, I'll say that. Raiden has got sort of a love-hate relationship with fans. The game 1 and 2 are sort of notoriously great games, especially the first one. It's sort of a bullet hell game for its time. It's a slower paced game, but the bullets did come quite thick and fast, and you really did have to memorise the stages in order to miss them. sometimes the bullets did travel faster than your ship. That all changed with the introduction of Raiden 3. They've sort of tried to make the game a little more fast paced to kind of compete, I suppose, with sort of the cave games that were all the rage in the late 90s. So that did sort of kind of flip fans on its side. You enjoyed the changes, or you thought, nah, this isn't for me. So Raiden 5 continues on that tradition of the Raiden 3, Raiden 4 sort of setup. As you can see, graphics wise, I'm not to beat around the bush. They're fucking poor. They're really, really not bad, just basic, like PS2 basic graphics. The backgrounds are pretty blurry as they fly past you. Ships, the textures of the ship and that, they all just look very, very basic. And this looks like a budget Steam release, if I'm honest. It's not quite the AAA title that the price that they're asking for it kind of shows. As you can see with the setup, there is no Tate option for the game, which to me is horrendous. That is, the first Raiden had it. Why it's not in this version is beyond me. Here you have the Yoko mode, and you have these two sidebars, which are normally sort of placed with like a wallpaper. Here it's information bars, and I will be honest, it does look far too crowded. Apparently the information bars do give you plenty of information to look at. I don't know when you plan on doing this, because the game's that action packed that it's hard to kind of stare at the sides. But at the top right hand corner, that's where the story happens. You just see a little picture of the characters that are speaking to you. Down below that's the dialogue box. It's all in Japanese, unfortunately. Below that is sort of like a positioning of the screen where you are in the game. Kind of pointless, if I'm completely honest. Opposite that, at the bottom left, is your shield. Slightly above that is your rank for the level. This starts at 5 and then slowly ticks down to 4, 3, 2 and 1. Depending on how badly you're doing. The better you do, the higher the rank. Next to them is your weapons. You cannot pick between randomly select weapons. You can only pick them up when the icons are on the screen. However, you can pick up them multiple times to power up your weapons, and these don't actually go down when you die, which is quite a good feature, because you would be horrendously undergunned, certainly in the later levels. Right above that is quite a good feature. This is this thing called the cheer feature, which the developer is kind of pushing forward as its sort of main feature for Raiden 5. How it basically works is the game plays online. You can play it offline, but majority of the time you want to play it online. And it will display scores and actions from other players that are playing or have played recently. So for instance, if somebody scores a perfect run on a level, it will tell you on that top left hand screen. So you have the option of cheering them, which is basically sort of like a digital high five. So not only does it add to their score, but in your bottom right hand corner, when you do things, here's your cheer meter. That slowly fills up, and then once it reaches to certain levels, you can highlight it like a super bomb, and this gives you this power here which you're seeing, which is sort of like an added firepower. So it's quite a cool feature, but is it really necessary? Not really. Every 2 minutes your top left hand screen pings and dings and things pop up on the screen to say Billy Bob's just scored 100 points, or Jock Smith has just killed level 5 boss and things like that, and it just does get distracting. What is quite cool is down below that you can see some sort of graph. This actually shows you how well you're doing in the stage compared to the person that's the best player on the stage, which is the top line, your previous score, which is your yellow line, and your current score, which is your red line. That's quite cool, but unfortunately as soon as you die, that gets wiped out. So yeah, so the game itself, as I say, there's 8 levels. I haven't played through them all yet. I don't want to start credit feeding just to get to the end. The super bomb is quite a cool feature. It's got quite a nice animation, similar to previous Raidens. All 3 ships sort of play similar. They do have different fire powers, but they tend to handle similar. And yeah, that's about it really. So, comes to verdict time. Do I recommend it? Well, Not really, to be honest. Is it a good game? Yes. Am I enjoying it? Yes. Is it worth the £55, £50 that it's cost me? No. To be fair, if you've got Raiden 4, you're not missing out. Even if you've got Raiden 3, to be honest, you're not really missing out. Saying that, it is a new shooter and everybody likes a new shooter. It's not going to change your mind on the Raiden franchise. If you don't like it, you won't like this. If you do like it though, it's more of the same. So yeah, so in that regard, if you're looking for a new Raiden fix, then go ahead, buy it. But I actually feel it's maybe been a waste of £50 if I'm completely honest. The game itself though does move along at quite a brisk pace, and the difficulty does ramp up in later levels. Some of the bullets are quite difficult to see, certainly the yellow ones. Certainly on this stage here, the desert stage, I don't know why they've put yellow bullets with sort of a yellowish sandy background. But it does have a few small niggles like that, which for a AAA title really should have been ironed out, if I'm completely honest. But as I say, it is a new shooter for the Xbox. It's the only one coming out in the near future. There is 2 more announced. One's a Shoot 'n Love trilogy, which I think is just old games re-released, which we've probably played 1,000 times before. And Natsuki Chronicle. Problem with that though is it's already been delayed by about a year. Nobody's really seen any footage of it, so whether or not it still comes out is anyone's guess. Fingers crossed it does. So hopefully the Xbox One becomes the shooter console of choice again this generation. But in many regards, it's a little bit like Darius Burst Chronicles for the PlayStation and Steam. It's good fun if you're looking for a new shooter to play. However, with the amount of quality games already existing in the genre, is there any need to play them? Honestly, probably not. Well guys, I'll leave it up to you to make up your own mind though. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening to Ramble On, and take it easy. Oh, and before anyone mentions in the comments, yes, I say Raiden, that's because RAI to me is like rain. I don't say it's raining outside, it's raining outside. So that's why I don't say Raiden. No bother. Cheers chaps.